Life confronts us with an undeniable reality. People enter and exit our lives. We form bonds and build connections, often anchoring our emotions to these relationships. But what occurs when those bonds fracture? How do you manage the emotional burden when someone is no longer a central part of your world, or when you realize their emotional investment never matched your own? You might wonder, how can I stop caring? Is it possible to emotionally detach without losing a part of who I am? This is where Stoicism, particularly the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, provides a guide. The Stoics were experts in navigating human emotions, not by avoiding them, but by learning to manage their influence on our lives. Emotional detachment isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about reclaiming the power to act with clarity and inner stability. In this exploration, I will guide you through 5 timeless Stoic rules for emotionally detaching from someone, using the insights of Marcus Aurelius as our foundation. This is not merely theory, it is practical advice designed to reshape how you relate to yourself and others. Understand the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. In our emotional attachments, we often cling to a personal narrative we've created about someone's importance. But the truth is, all relationships are transient. One moment you are close, the next they are gone, through distance, a parting of ways, or the gradual fading of intimacy. People leave. This may seem bleak, but it is the Stoics' first rule of detachment. Embrace impermanence. When you accept that no connection is permanent, you become more mindful of the present. Have you ever tried to hold sand at the beach? The tighter your grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. This is a natural law. The more we try to possess someone, the quicker they tend to fade. In my own life, a friendship spanning over a decade eventually changed. Despite my resistance, distance grew between us. The emotional investment I had made began to feel like a chain. It wasn't until I accepted that the friendship had run its natural course that I could release that weight. Marcus Aurelius would advise the same. Accept that things will end and you will suffer less when they do. Master your emotions through rational thought. We often believe our emotions control us. You feel pain, sadness, or anger. Natural reactions when you're attached to someone. But here is a crucial truth. Emotions are not reality. They are products of your thoughts, beliefs, and interpretations. Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics firmly believed in this principle. We are not at the mercy of our emotions. Our emotions are at the mercy of our thoughts. He taught that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Emotional detachment begins with understanding that your mind can govern your emotional state. For example, during a breakup, you might feel shattered, replaying conversations and overanalyzing details. The Stoic response is to shift that focus. Instead of letting your emotions take control, ask, what are the facts? How can I view this differently? You must choose thoughts that liberate you from suffering, not ones that intensify it. Consider when you send a heartfelt message and receive no immediate reply. Your mind may race. Did I say something wrong? Do they not care? Your emotions escalate from concern to anxiety. But what is the truth? The fact is they haven't responded. Everything else is speculation. The Stoic practice is to challenge that automatic reaction with rational thought. Pause and recognize that your feelings are rooted in your interpretation, not in reality. I once experienced this with a friend. After an important discussion, they went silent. As hours passed, I felt unease, convincing myself the friendship was ending. But when I examined the situation calmly, I realized nothing had actually happened. My friend had simply been busy. Remembering Marcus Aurelius, I focused on what was within my control. My thoughts and actions, not their response. By redirecting your mind, you learn to release emotional turmoil. If you're still watching, please like and comment below with an observation from your own relationships. Your insights could help others recognize similar patterns and build healthier connections. Practice negative visualization. At first, negative visualization may seem counterintuitive. Why imagine losing someone you care about? However, this Stoic exercise, championed by Marcus Aurelius, is a powerful tool for emotional detachment. It prepares your mind for life's inevitable losses, lessening their impact. The concept is profound. By envisioning a worst-case scenario in advance, you reduce its emotional power if it occurs. This isn't about pessimism. It's about training yourself to accept reality as it is. Marcus Aurelius advised to meet each trouble with calmness as it arises, not by overwhelming yourself with all of life's potential problems at once. Imagine a person you are deeply attached to. Now visualize your life without them. It feels uncomfortable, even painful, and that is the point. By facing the possibility of loss in your mind, you build resilience against its real-world impact. I practiced this when a close friend considered moving abroad. The thought filled me with dread, so I began to mentally rehearse life without them. I pictured my routines, other friendships, and finding new joys. When they eventually moved, the loss was real, but I was not blindsided. I had already rehearsed it, which made a significant difference. This practice also involves recognizing that loss is a natural part of life. Everything you cherish will eventually change or end. This realization is not morbid, it is liberating. When you stop expecting permanence, you stop feeling entitled to it, and the fear of loss diminishes. In a past relationship, my anxiety about it ending was consuming. Through negative visualization, I stopped trying to control the outcome and learned to appreciate the present moment. When the relationship did end, I was more prepared. The true gift of this practice is the inner stability it builds, teaching you that you will be okay no matter what happens. Focus on what you can control. A core Stoic teaching, and one of the most empowering realizations, is the distinction between what is within your control and what is not. In emotional detachment, this is crucial, as much of our pain comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized focusing only on what is within our power, our thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything else, other people's behavior, outcomes, the passage of time, is beyond our control. The more you try to influence what you can't, the more you will suffer. Emotional detachment, therefore, is about releasing your attachment to outcomes you cannot dictate. When you are attached to someone, it's natural to want to influence their feelings. You want them to care for you in the same way. But the difficult truth is that you cannot control their emotions or actions. The only thing you can control is how you respond. Reflect on a time you tried to win someone's affection or prove your worth to a friend who didn't value you. It likely left you feeling frustrated and powerless because you were chasing something beyond your control. I experienced this in a relationship where I constantly tried to keep things together. No matter my effort, they pulled away and I tried harder. It was a cycle of anxiety because I was trying to control their feelings. When I began to focus on what I could control, my own actions and self-worth, I let go of the anxiety. The relief from that emotional burden was immense. Embracing emotional autonomy is liberating. Your happiness and peace should not be dependent on another person's behavior. When you place your well-being in someone else's hands, you give away your power. Imagine a friendship where you feel sidelined. Their behavior is outside your control. Your power lies in how you choose to respond. Will you spend energy chasing someone who doesn't value you, or will you nurture the relationships and activities that bring you fulfillment? By shifting your attention to your own emotional state, you reclaim your power and create your own equilibrium, independent of external circumstances. Reflect on the bigger picture. When entangled in the emotions of a relationship, it's easy to lose perspective. Stoic philosophy encourages us to step back and reflect on the grander scheme of things. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that our troubles are fleeting moments in the vastness of time. Adopting this broader viewpoint makes emotional detachment more accessible. Ask yourself, will this pain matter in 5 years? Does this person truly define my entire existence? Shifting your focus from immediate turmoil to a higher perspective helps you realize that much of your distress is tied to temporary circumstances. Stoicism reminds us that no single person or event should wield absolute power over our well-being. It's easy to make someone the center of your universe, but stepping back reminds you that life is ever-changing, and relationships are just one part of your journey. You are a complete individual with your own path. In the heat of a breakup, this perspective is challenging, but reflecting on your life's larger scope shows you that you have survived emotional pain before. Life moved on and so did you. Think back to past hardships. Those wounds healed and you grew stronger. This is life's natural rhythm. I once went through a painful breakup that felt like the end of my world. By allowing myself to reflect on the bigger picture, I realized this person was a chapter in my story, not the entire narrative. Zooming out allowed me to emotionally detach. The Stoics emphasize the impermanence of all things. By reflecting on the bigger picture, you cultivate inner peace, knowing that life continues to flow regardless of your temporary attachments. This perspective allows you to detach not because you stop caring, but because you understand that clinging too tightly to fleeting things leads to unnecessary suffering. Ultimately, emotional detachment is not about shutting down your emotions. It is about building resilience and gaining control over your responses to life's inevitable changes. The Stoic path offers a way to inner peace. By embracing impermanence, mastering your emotions, and reflecting on the bigger picture, you will find that emotional detachment is an act of self-liberation. This brings us to a vital realization. Emotional detachment is, at its core, an exercise in self-preservation and strength. It is the conscious decision to no longer allow an external circumstance or person to dictate your internal state. The Stoic journey doesn't promise a life free from pain, but it does provide the tools to prevent that pain from turning into prolonged suffering. Think of your mind as a fortress. The principles of Stoicism are not walls to hide behind, but rather the strong foundations and well-trained guards that allow the gates to remain open. You can engage with the world, form deep connections, and experience joy without fearing that a single setback will lead to a total collapse. You learn to feel emotions without being enslaved by them. This is the profound shift that Marcus Aurelius championed. Your peace is not found in controlling the sea around you, but in learning to skillfully sail your own ship through any weather. When a storm hits, a betrayal, a loss, a rejection, you are not thrown overboard. You may be rocked, you may get wet, but you trust in your ability to navigate and know that the storm will eventually pass. Your worth and stability are inherent, not contingent on the calmness of the sea. So, how do you begin to apply this in the moments that test you the most? It starts with a simple yet powerful daily practice. Each morning, remind yourself of these Stoic truths. Acknowledge that today, you will encounter events and people you cannot control. Your only task is to manage your judgments and reactions to them with virtue and reason. This daily mental preparation builds resilience over time, making your responses more intentional and less reactive. And in the heat of the moment, when you feel that familiar pull of anxiety or sadness, pause. Create a space between the trigger and your response. In that space, ask the Stoic questions. Is this within my control? What is the factual reality here, separate from my story about it? By consistently inserting this moment of reflection, you break the automatic cycle of emotional turmoil. Remember, the goal is not to become emotionless, but to become the master of your emotions. It is to care deeply, but from a place of choice and strength, not dependency and fear. You can love someone without the relationship becoming the sole source of your happiness. You can value a connection without treating its potential end as a catastrophe. This path of emotional detachment, guided by the wisdom of the Stoics, ultimately leads you back to yourself. It is a homecoming to your own inner strength and autonomy. You discover that you were never missing a piece from someone else. You were always a complete whole. The liberation comes from understanding that your peace was always your own to cultivate and protect. Therefore, the next time you feel your grip tightening, when the fear of loss or the weight of attachment begins to cloud your judgment, recall these principles. See the bigger picture, focus on your own sphere of control, and trust in your capacity to endure and grow. Emotional freedom is not a distant destination, but a choice available to you in every moment. It awaits those who possess the courage to understand that letting go is not an act of loss, but the ultimate act of reclaiming your own power. This journey of emotional mastery is not a single decision, but a continuous practice. It unfolds in the quiet moments of self-reflection and in the conscious choices you make each day. Think of it as building a new mental muscle. At first, it feels unfamiliar and requires great effort, but with consistent repetition, it becomes a natural part of your strength. You are not suppressing your humanity, you are refining it, learning to operate from a place of principle rather than impulse. A common misunderstanding is that this path leads to isolation. In truth, it allows for more authentic connections. When you are no longer clinging to others out of need or fear, you can engage with them from a place of genuine choice and appreciation. Your relationships become less about what you can extract emotionally and more about what you can mutually share. You stop using people as anchors and start appreciating them as fellow travelers. This shift also changes how you perceive the actions of others. When someone is inconsiderate or withdraws their affection, your first response is no longer a frantic search for what you did wrong. Instead, you can observe their behavior with clarity, understanding that it often speaks more about their own inner world than your worth. You can set boundaries with calmness, not anger, and walk away from what is harmful without needing to assign blame. Your peace becomes the priority, and you protect it not with walls but with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius himself faced immense personal loss and political turmoil, yet his writings reveal a man committed to maintaining his inner citadel. He did not avoid the pain of his reality, he transformed his relationship with it. He teaches us that our power does not lie in creating a perfect life, but in cultivating an unshakable self. The world will always present challenges, people will leave, circumstances will change, but your core does not have to fracture in response. So, as you move forward, carry this perspective with you. Let it be the lens through which you view your attachments. When a difficult emotion arises, greet it not as an enemy, but as a signal to return to these practices. Ask yourself, am I clinging to an illusion of permanence? Am I trying to control what is not mine to control? By returning to these questions, you recenter yourself. The ultimate freedom Stoicism offers is the realization that you are the author of your inner narrative. While you cannot write every event that happens to you, you hold absolute authority over how you interpret and respond to them. This is the birthplace of true resilience and lasting peace. It is a quiet, powerful confidence that comes from knowing that no matter who comes or goes, the source of your strength remains within, constant and entirely your own.